we will see about the name of the subject, that is basically data and database system. What is data and what is database system? We will start from this. Data is basically a raw fact and figure. When we talk about the data, then data are raw fact and figure. Basically, it doesn't have any meaning until it is processed and turned into something useful. Data comes in many forms, the main ones being letters, numbers, and symbols, but also images and sounds. Any type, any category can be called as data, but it is not processed or meaningful until it is processed. Example of data can be date, time, but it doesn't tell us what date, what this date try to tell us, this type of thing now. When we talk about the data can't be useful until it is converted into the information. So we have to convert the data into the information. We can convert data into information by processing, and this processing is done by the computer system so that we can understand what this data trying to say. For example, if we have a figure 0.14, 0.17, 0.20, then it will be a data because we don't understand what this figure, what this value trying to tell us now. And then when we have 0.14, 0.17, 0.2 time of a race, then it will become information which tell us that this figure is about the time of a race that is represented in the form of seconds. We can say that data is converted into the information. Basically, we have different categories of data. The first one is open data. As its name shows, that data which is freely available to everyone, that is open for everyone now. Open data is a data that is available for everyone to access, use, and share. It is generally published by the governments on freely accessible portals and might include information about local areas or statistics on topics such as economy, health, and environment. Basically, that open data is according to your likes or dislikes in which people are interested, they can access the data and reuse it. Open data is also a movement. Supporters of open data believe that some kind of data should be publicly accessible for everyone to make use of. It's a viewpoint that has accompanied the explosion of data in today's digital world. With the modern technology collecting more and better quality data on our world that than even before, it makes sense to open this up as much as possible for social, economic, public, and institutional gain. Obviously, open data will be available from the government, that can be very fruitful for the people who want to make some advantage from that data, that can people can reuse it for their purpose. The next one is public data. The term open and public data are often found together, and the words they might sound similar. They are actually very different. They both are not same. There are certain standards associated with open data that make it easy to both access and use. This is not the case with the public data, which simply means any data that is in the public domain. Public data therefore includes data sets and basically data sets, we can say data combination of different type of files of data. Let's say we have a data about the uh, lines. Then in lines we have different in the data set of sorry in the file of a, we can say that in Excel file, we have a data about the line where we have different rows and columns. Line has a different line has different features which can be represented in columns. So we can say these rows and columns make a data set. Different large amount of data sets are available. So data set basically is a combination of datas in a large volume, and document that can only be accessed with a freedom of information request, as well as data that is not in machine readable format. Public data is definitely not always open data. Okay, when we have then we have a next data type, which is private data. Private data, also known as proprietary or confidential data, that means which is not publicly available to everyone who can reuse it for their purpose. Private data, also known as proprietary or confidential data, refers to information that is not publicly available and must be protected due to privacy, security, or legal concern. This category includes personal information such as social security numbers, in financial records, medical history, and proprietary business data, which means that this is personal type of data which is not publicly available to everyone. For example, if you are working in any organization, then our personal information, just like our CNIC number, our cell number, these type of information will be the personal data, private data that cannot be available to everyone from the outside of the organization. And then we have a category which is known as internal data. Internal data is obtained by the HR department and include information from employees' profiles, training data, employee certificates, CVs, feedback, etc. One of the biggest advantage of internal data is that it's readily available for analysis. It helps business owners to make quick decisions through the instant availability and access to information. For example, internal data can show that accounting expenses are rising faster than profits and indicate what can be done to improve the underlying matrices. This type of information can help us to gain our profit so our business can flourish well. And other category which is known as research data, it's basically linked about the researching domain. Research data is any information that has been collected, observed, generated, or created to validate original research findings. Research data may be arranged or formatted in such a way as to make it suitable for communication, interpretation, and processing. Data comes in many formats, both digital and physical. And then we talk about the big data. Big data, as its name shows, a large amount of data that is available on the internet. Let's pause. In every day, trillions of information are generated by the users of the internet. As we can say that, let's suppose when we talk about the Facebook, trillions of posts are generated every day by users of the Facebook. Same goes for other platforms as well. So let's see about the definition of big data. Big data stands for large volumes of data. It could be both structured and unstructured. It's not about the amount of data, but what business do with the given data that counts. Businesses leverage on big data for insight that can propel their growth. Basically, big data. Okay, let's see about the example of big data. Following are some examples of big data. Facebook's users send roughly 31.25 million messages and watch 2.77 million videos every minute. And this is about only minute, and think about how many videos will be watched, or users posts their information or messages exchanging will be done every day. It's a figure about only a minute. Walmart customers transaction provide the company with about 2.5 petabyte of data every hour. When we talk about the other platform, that is YouTube usage jumped 3 times from 2014 to 2016, with users uploading 400 hours of new videos each minute of every day. Now in when we this data is basically about the 2017. So in 2017, users are watching 4.146,600 videos every minute. When we talk about the Instagram, that is also a social media platform, users upload 46,740 million posts every minute. And when we talk about the Google searches that was done, Google searches that were done in 2017, the figure was about 5.2 billion daily that Google searched in 2017. And when we talk about the basically pillars of big data, we can say the big data that are composed of big data types, categories. What we can say that are basically of three types: structured data, unstructured data, and semi-structured data. These basically are the three types of the big data, three pillars of the big data. Let us check one by one. Structured data, as it shows that something that is in a structured format. Now, structured data refers to the data which is already stored in the database in an ordered manner. When we talk about the database, we are talking about the data, our data that is stored in the form of rows and columns. As we already talk about the Excel, both of you have the experience of Excel sheet. Maybe the in Excel sheet, data is in the form MS Excel. In data in these files are stored in the rows and columns. As we talk already about the line has color, line has a name, line has a tail, line has hair. All these line has legs, tongue, these type teeth. These type are all the features of the line that will be stored in the columns, and we considered them as a features. So these type of data can be easily stored or managed in the Excel file. So let us start about the discussion. Structured data refer to the data which is already stored in the database in an ordered manner, which means that there is a proper order in which data is stored. It account for about 20% of the total existing data and is used in the programming and computer related activities. For example, as we have to do some task that we have to store in the table format, we will go with the MS Excel rather than the MS Word, because in that format data is all, we have a table already built in which we have to just enter our values and text. Okay, example of structured data, metadata. Basically, metadata is about data, uh, time and date of creation, file size, author, etc. And we can also check that library catalogs, in which library catalogs we have lot of columns we have to maintain, just like date, author, place, subject, etc. Census record, as are census that are done for in every country, just like we have to store the records of every family. In every family we have to save the name, income, birth, employment, place, etc. information about each member of the family. So we have to store that record in the some specific format, just like that in the table format, that can be easily seen, easily judged, easily further classification can be done on it. Economic data, just like GDP, PPI, ASX, etc. And when we have the second pillar of the big data, when we talk about the unstructured data, unstructured data, any data with unknown form or the structure is classified as unstructured data. Basically, we don't have any format that in which our file or data is stored. In addition to size being huge, unstructured data poses multiple challenges in terms of its processing for deriving values out of it. Basically, our data is not in a proper format, so we may have a problem for processing, because in a structured format we have a data, so processing can be done easily, so we can derive any value from it. But in unstructured data we can't do this thing easily. The rest of the data created about 80% of total account for unstructured big data. For example, unstructured data, media data, MP3, digital photos, audios, and video files. We don't know how many files or how many videos, audios, or photos are available in our folders. We have no idea. We have to count them if we want to. If someone asks us about how many pictures are available in your computer system for specific folder, we have to count each of them. for the unstructured data. But when we talk about the structured data, it means our photos, total number of photos of a specific extension are in this count. Same goes for audio, same goes for video files. Text files, word processing, spreadsheets, presentation, etc. When we talk about the social media data from the Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, because data in the Facebook are in different format. Data can be video, data can be audio, data can be in textual format, data can be in emojis form, data can be in different, you can say animations. So we can't say that data in that social media platforms are in structured format. They are in unstructured formats. When we talk about these, we are not only specify these only three examples of these. Same goes for structured and unstructured. There are different examples are available that can be seen. Okay, when we talk about the semi-structured, semi-structures, as its name shows, that is not fully structured, not fully unstructured. It basically lie between the structured and unstructured data. Semi-structured data, that is a form of structured data that does not conform with the formal structure of data models associated with relational database or other form of the data tables, but nonetheless contains tags or other makers to separate semantic elements and enforce hierarchies of records and fields within the data. Therefore, it is also known as self-describing structure. For example, this is basically personal data that is stored in XML file. XML file is basically a programming it's some sort of a programming language that for language stores this records in this format. Basically, we can say if we have to store the name, this is self-defining tag. We have the facility to define tags by ourselves. If we have to store the name of the someone, we have starting tag and we have ending tag. As you can see, we have a starting tag, opening tag name, and we have a ending tag name. This opening tag, angle brackets, and then we have angle brackets and backslash for the ending tag. As you can see, name, opening tag, then we have a name of that person, Harry, and then we have a closing tag. When we talk about the sex, we have opening tag, and then we have a sex of male, and then we have ending tag. When we talk about the age, this is basically opening tag and closing tag, and this is basically a complete record of of a person, Harry, whose gender is male and whose age is 35. Same goes for other line. Record is basically, when we talk about the record in database, it means basically a line, a row. So first record is about the Harry, whose gender is male, whose age is 35. And in the second record, in the second row, is about Justin, whose gender is female, whose age is 41. Third record is about the Sean, whose gender is male, age is 29. Fourth record is about Ed Sheeran, whose sex is male, whose age is 26. Same for the last record, name is Drake, gender is male and age is 35. Basically, as you can see, data is not stored in the specifically in the table format or not unstructured format. It somehow lies between the structured and unstructured. We can not easily, but we can somehow understand this type of data. Basically, these were the three pillars we can say about the big data. Okay, next. As you can notice, internet is maze of unbounded data. It's not about the bounded data, but it can be understood, interpreted, and used under these three categories. All of the data that is currently available on the internet lies under these three pillars. You can benefit from each type of data if you understand their characteristics and strengths. Okay, we were talking about data, and data. When we talk about the types of data, how many types of data are available? Basically, the previous one were categories. When we talk about the types of data, these are not only these, there are several other type of data that are available. Types of data, in how many format, in how many types we can represent our data. Basically, when we talk about the video, some video that is being playing on your screen, then it means our data is in the video format. Our data can, when we are working some on the Word, MS Word, then it means our data is in the textual format. When we are listening something that is in the audio on VLC or some other media, YouTube, then it means our data is in the audio format. When we talk about the video platform, then it means our data is in the video and audio both as well. So data is available in different formats now. So some of the types of the data that are given here: textual, numeric, Boolean, date and time, timestamp, and sequence. We'll check one by one. Okay. The text, as its name shows, the data that is in the textual format. The text data type stores any kind of text data. It can contains both single byte and multi-byte characters that the local sports. The term simple large object refers to an instance of a text or byte data type. So I think so both of you are familiar with the term byte.
Yeah, byte, yeah.
Okay. Byte is basically combination of 8 bits. As our computer is working only in the bits format, so we have to do all the working in the bits, as we don't do it, but at the back end all the working is done in the bits format now. So bits basically is the smallest, you can say, unit for storing data. We have byte is basically combination of 8 bits. When we talk about the types of text, basically both these two are the types, which are character and the string. Okay, character data type. Character data type are strings of characters. Upper or lowercase alphabet characters are accepted literally. There is one fixed length character data type, that is char. As we have to do coding, we have to declare our data of character type. So we have to use this word char. That means our data is of character type. And two variable length character data types, it means varchar and long varchar. These basically we can say specify about the length of the characters. When we talk about the string, that is basically the second type of text. String data type is traditionally a sequence of characters, either as literal constant or as some kind of variable. The latter may allow its element to be mutated and the length change, or it may be fixed after the creation. Okay, the third data type, that is Boolean data type. Uh, Basically, it's only about the two values. Boolean data is something called logical data, or in some software, yes or no data. Boolean data can only have two values, whether it will be true or false. For example, when we talk about the true false, our value will be true or false, or it will be on or off. It's basically depend on the criteria in which we are dealing with, yes or no. When we talk about the answer of the question, the answer will be true or false. If we have to switch on, otherwise we have to switch off the bulb. Yes or no, we can say if we have to go for school tomorrow, yes, or it will be no. Then we have next category, that is numeric data. As its name shows, the data that is in the numerical format. A numeric data type is defined as a type of a data that represent continuous numerical values which can be expressed with numbers and have infinite number of values between digits. These are the types. Not only these, there are other also, but we have to deal with these only here. Are the types of the numeric data that are byte, integer, long, floating point, decimal, and complex. Byte basically we have, as we have already talked about, byte is basically a unit of data that is 8 binary digits long. It means 1 byte is equal to 8 bits. A byte is the unit most computer use to represent a character such as a letter, number, or typographical symbol. The following is a representation of a letter if. It means if we have to store then this A will take 8 bits in the memory, as it shows these two, these two, these two, these two. A will be stored as the combination of 8 bits. And second, we have integer. Integer is a whole number. It has no decimal or fractional part. Integer can be either positive or negative values. For example, 12, 14, 12, 74. This, there's both, you can see both positive or negative values are can be the example of the integer. And then we talk about the long int. Long it means long integer. This is also a type of the numeric data. Variables are stored as signed 32-bit 4-byte numbers ranging in value from this to this. Basically, this is the large figure. As we can say that we can, if we want to store about the long integer, this is the range maximum or minimum from which we can only define between these. And we talk about the timestamp. Timestamp basically stores a combined data and time value to be stored. It permits a fractional seconds value of up to 9 digits. As basic, you can say first 4 will be the value of year, next 2 will be the value of month, date, hours, minutes, and seconds, and the last one will be the nanoseconds. This is the value of, if we have to use it in some programming in some database, then we can say we can represent in this format values, timestamp, and when we have these year, month, date, sorry, hour, minute, second, and in the nanosecond. Date and time, basically date and time is usually formatted in a specific way. The format depends upon the setup of the computer, the software in use, and the user preferences. It's basically somehow rely on the user's comfort level. We can say if user is easy with this format of time, then it can define this. No, not can define this, but you use it can use this from multiple options. For example, some are really comfortable with this format of time, 11 a.m. Some are comfortable with 15. Some are comfortable with 3 p.m. Some are with this. A date can be presented in a different format. For example, 25 will be the month, 25 date of month October of the year 2007. As its name shows that this type of data can contains information about the date and time. It's basically about the different format in which we can represent our date and time, as we have already discussed about these different type of formats that in which we can represent our date and time. It's basically about the comfort level of users who in which they are comfortable. They can represent their date and time. Next, we have a data type sequence. Basically, this type stores more than one item at a time. As we can see in previous examples, that if we are talking about the date, it can only stores the it can only gives the information about the time, about the date. And when we talk about the time data type, then it means we have only information about the time. When we talk about the integer or integer data type, it means we have only data in the integer format. But in the sequence format, in sequence data type, it stores informations more than one item at a time. Therefore, we can say that it is a collection of items. It's basically not about a single item, it's about the collection of items. Moreover, to access these items, each item has a particular index number. As we can understand that index number is basically for the easiness, as we can access that number. Let's suppose if we are if we are reading a book, then from the index page we can identify the our specific heading, our specific topic. From that topic we can also identify the in which on which page number that topic is written. So directly we can read that topic from that page. It's basically about for easiness of the user, comfort level for comfort level for the user. And when we talk about the types of the sequence, basically we have these types: arrays, sets, linked list, stacks, queues, dictionary. In this in these types, we somehow store our information. We organize our information in such format that we can easily get that information. We can easily do some operations. So basically in these types we store the information. More than one item are stored in these types. Now, first one is arrays. Basically, arrays are used to store a fixed size sequence of element of the same data type. It means if we are declaring an array, then it means declaring an array for integer data type. It means we can store only data of integer data type. Now, we can only store integer data type in that array. Let's suppose we can also specify the size of an array. It means we have, let's suppose if I have declared that array of size 5, then it means I can only store the 5 elements in that array. Unlike list, arrays can only contain element of single type. In Python is basically a programming language. Arrays are available through the array module. The second type is sets. Basically, sets are unordered collection of unique elements. They do not allow duplicate values. We have only unique elements. We can't, we can say we can't duplicate values. We can't again write the values. Set are defined using curly braces. This basically in programming language, there's proper syntax for defining values, declaring variables. There is a proper format for each programming language. So we can say for in Python, there is the format for sets in which we have to start from the small parentheses, then we have a curly braces, opening and ending, then we have a closing of parentheses. Or the sets we can also define through this only by using parenthesis function. You can perform set operations like union, in which we have to do addition, intersections, and difference. Basically, these are operations that we can perform on the values of the sets. Then we have a linked list. Basically, linked lists are the dynamic data structure composed of nodes, where each node contains data and reference or link to the next node in the sequence. Linked lists are not built in Python. Basically, these are the types of the sequence are specifically talk. The slides basically in this lecture are about the Python language. Now, so we can say that linked lists are dynamic data structure composed of nodes where each node contains data and reference or link to the next node in the sequence. Linked lists are not built in Python data structure, but you can implement them using classes and objects. You can implement in the Python language by using the classes and object built in. Basically, we can say that already something that are already defined in the language, in the libraries, just we have to include the header files and we can use from there. Then we have a stack. As its name shows, that stack is basically something that is piled, placing just like the book that is placed on the book that we have already placed, just like the pile of books, na stacks, stack of books. A stack is basically it works on the we can say function just like last in first out. Data structure, basically data structure is about the organizing data so that we can easily access it or do operations on it. Now, a stack is a last in first out data structure where elements are added or removed from the top. As I have already told you about the pile of the books, which means the first book that is placed will be at the last. So we have to remove the last book first. We have to remove all the books that are on the top of it. Same as it shows that just like that, last in first out. As the book that we have placed first, we will, if we have to remove it, we have to remove all the books that are on top of it. Python provides an implementation of stack using list, or you can create your own using the dequeue class from the collection module. Basically, these we can say this is also operation that can be performed on it. The next is queue, just like a line that we maintained in the cafe, in the restaurants. It's just like that. A queue is first in, first out data structure where elements are added at the rear and removed from the front. As just it's basically just like the queue that is maintained, that is arranged, that is established, you can say, in the restaurant. As we have to order, as we have to place our order, just we have to make a queue. Just like in the airports, for the clearance we make a queue. It's basically just like that. First in, first out. Who will be at the first will be entertained first. Who will come first will be entertained first. Just like the on the airports, who will be at the first of, who will come first will be entertained first at the desk. Python provides implementation of queues using list, or you can use the queue class from the queue module. Again, Python is a programming language. Okay, last, which is about dictionaries. Just like dictionaries, the key value pairs where each value is associated with the unique key. They are also known as associative array or hash map. Dictionaries are defined using curly braces and opening and closing of parentheses with the key value pair separated by the colon. Just we have a queue, just we have a value that is associated with the queue. For each value, we have a separate queue. Sorry, separate key.